Never have I seen a thinner t-shirt in my life. The way that after they're wet, the t-shirt clung to every individual ab. Kate, let's talk theater. Today we are going to be chatting about The Outsiders. Yes, I still don't have a background. I'm working on it, but it's painted. It's painted. We're getting somewhere. Today we're going to be chatting about The Outsiders, and I'm saying chatting because I feel like I don't have coherent thoughts on it yet. It's been about a week and a half, and I just need to get some things out, okay? So imagine I just saw the show, I'm on the train, I'm calling you, and I'm going, what did I just watch? That's this, okay? I think boys in tank tops have the power to change the world. I think that's the main explanation for why this musical is as popular as it is. I don't understand how this musical won Best Musical. I really don't. I do think that now that I'm thinking about the other contenders, I'm still mad The Notebook didn't make it in as a nom because I know Water for Elephants shouldn't have won. Stuff's direction brought it down despite it winning book and musical. Hell's Kitchen was about nothing, and I didn't see Illinois. But people debated if that was even to be considered a musical, so justice for The Notebook. I don't know. So, yeah, handsome boys in tank tops. What Shein, what Forever 21 sale did the costumer at The Outsiders get these t-shirts from? Because never have I seen a thinner t-shirt in my life. The way that after they're wet, the t-shirt clung to every individual ab. I gotta look up this actor because I was in the mez. Okay, I think I was row F. In the mez. And yet, is it Dallas? Alex Joseph Grayson's abs were visible through his shirt. Handsome boys in tank tops can save the world. I don't know. I think it was good. It's a good show. Beautiful show. Incredible choreography. The rain scene was great, honestly, but I do feel like went on longer than expected. I don't know. I wasn't ready. Maybe I overhyped it. The Tony performance almost made it look better. Maybe it was the angles. I don't know. But it was great. Like, visually really great. I loved the dancing. There was a lot more choreography, like actual dancing, than I would have expected from The Outsiders. And so that was really exciting because we don't often get to see true dancing in modern day musicals these days. We love movement. So that I was really happy with. I thought the gravel was a really cool touch to just bring a little bit of literal texture to the stage and that it moved around. I can't imagine sitting close up. I think I would spend the whole musical like that. So from afar, really cool, really effective. My biggest issue with The Outsiders is the fact that the lyrics are really simple. I think they are too telling, not showing. I think that the plot really lacks. I wish that the musical was about the older brother accepting his life. And instead he's like a C character. But he is really the only character that has the growth that I think warrants a musical. And you can take a young adult fiction novel, and if you want to put it on stage for 2.5 hours, I think you gotta beef it up a little bit. And I think that it's just, there's not enough there for a 2.5 hour musical. And maybe this is a really hot take. I don't know. Everybody seems to love this musical, but a lot of young people seem to like this musical, which is fine. But again, it makes sense in the sort of young adult of it all, right? That again, it's a young adult novel. were they trying to oversimplify the lyrics because they're trying to attract school kids? I don't know. Like, I just think every song is very just, hey, my brother is this and my life is that, and I'm going through, like, you could tell when they were taking, I've never read the book. I didn't have to read it in school. I'm thinking about reading it now, but I never had to. So I went into this musical knowing nothing. I haven't seen the movie either, which is totally a theme with these adaptations for me. I usually don't know what's happening. And I always figure if I've made it this long, I'm not checking now. But I could still tell. I felt the same way with The Great Gatsby. I had never read it, had never seen the movie, and you're listening to some of the dialogue and some of the lyrics, and I'm like, that's from the book. It just you can just tell. And so in The Outsiders, I felt the same way. There were a couple moments where Ponyboy is talking, and I'm like, that's gotta be something straight from the book. And what was bizarre was that the book used really like flowery language, like you could tell. And then the lyrics were less than. The lyrics were super straightforward, in my opinion. And it should be the other way around. The dialogue is dialogue. The songs should be the things we aren't saying. The songs should be the depth. But a lot of the songs just were what was happening. And again, that happens from time to time. Not to say every song has to be like the most in-depth character study that's ever happened, but like there's a balance, and I feel like that there just was no balance. But at the same time, what depth was there? He very immediately is like, I can be more, even though I'm living in Tulsa in 1967. Let's repeat that a million times so you know immediately where it takes place and what year it is. So, what I think is interesting, like, he has hope, and then it's dashed, and then he has it back. So again, what's the character development? Am I missing something? I think that the plot isn't there for me. I'm not super interested. Like, again, the brother's plot of, like, accepting his fate and, like, his dreams are gone and he's having to create new dreams for himself in regards to what he can do for his family and not for himself, I think is so beautiful and powerful. And again, like, he's like a C character, and he does have some songs, and his songs are also boring, unfortunately, because it's just like, I could have been something and now I'm not, and now I'm mad, and it's just like, ugh. I low-key want to, like, deep dive into the album and the lyrics, just to, like, fully go in, but those are my initial thoughts. I just sit here and wonder if I want to see handsome men with big arms be poor with no parents, I could just go watch the Newsies, because at least all of those poor boys without parents who are ripped have a shared goal, and therefore the plot moves along. I could go watch West Side Story. The lyrics and the music is much stronger, and there's a love plot. And I'm glad that The Outsiders didn't have a love plot. He's 14 and doesn't need to fall in love with the only girl. But again, I just feel like there's not enough happening. They hate each other, and they hate each other, and they hate each other. They're poor, they're poor, they're poor. They kind of have hope. The hope's kind of dashed. They have hope again. Stay gold. You know, I just... What am I missing? What am I missing? Is it that I'm not missing anything? Do people not want more? I don't know. Because I think about that a lot. Like, I love a depressing musical, and a lot of the depressing musicals that I love don't last more than a year. This is supposed to be depressing, and yet I don't think people code The Outsiders as depressing. I heard somebody sobbing at one point when the boy died. I won't say which one, but they're all in a gang killing each other, so I don't think it's a spoiler to say somebody's dead. Again, it's basically West Side Story. And they're sobbing. I was like, I don't think that that's the emotional payoff is there. I really don't. I really didn't. it's just West Side Story. West Side Story came out like a decade before. I was shook. I was like, what do you mean this little girl stole the plot of West Side Story, took out the love? And I've seen people be like, it's not the same because it's about class instead of race. Like, don't be ridiculous. Like, it's the same. Don't be ridiculous. It is the same. Except it's stupider because they fight over like a girl talking to a boy. I don't know. It's missing something for me. The lyrics are absolutely lacking. And I don't mind simple lyrics, like on face value. You know, I love Ingrid Michaelson. I think she writes very simple lyrics. You're not having to whip out a thesaurus to understand the lyrics in The Notebook. But I think she says a lot with a little, if that makes sense. One of my favorite lines from The Notebook is, I like the little lines around her eyes. I wish I knew what put them there, which is from Forever in Act 2. And it's the song where Allie and Noah reconnect. And on face value, I like the little lines around her eyes. I wish I knew what put them there. It's all simple language. It's probably not something someone would say, though. It's simple, but it's maybe not a sentence you would just naturally string together. And it's simple, but it means so much more. You can take that line and you can think about the time that has passed by, which is a theme throughout the musical, time, about how he last saw her when she was 17 and like fresh-faced, and now she's 27 and starting to age. And like time is very present in these little changes. You can also think about the fact that those lines around her eyes are from smiling, right? Those are the lines that crease up when we smile. Therefore, when he says, I wish I knew what put them there, he realizes he doesn't know what's been bringing her joy the last 10 years. He just knows it's not him. And again, you're not whipping out the thesaurus to figure out what she's saying, but it's the meaning underneath. And I love that, and I think that's incredible. And with The Outsiders, I just didn't feel like there was meat underneath. Again, we have the Newsies, we have West Side Story. What is Outsiders doing that's different? And maybe it's nothing. Maybe it doesn't have to be. Like, I know we can just have things. We can just have things that are fun. And I'm definitely a person that can just have fun, I swear. But I just felt like lyrics are so important to me as a musical theater goer. And so maybe if that's not your thing, if it's the dance, if it's you just like The Outsiders, like, sure, I don't have an attachment to The Outsiders though, right? I'm going in completely blind, not knowing what it's about at all, and coming in and just ended up kind of expecting more. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. Everyone was good. The vocals were good. There were definitely moments where I was drawn in, but I felt like the actors were having to really, again, just like everything felt like it was making up for the lyrics. Everything felt like it was making up for the plot. It's this big, showy, everybody's jumping around, and there's cars on stage, and there's gravel, and there's rain, and there's all this stuff, and it's just like, okay, but what are we doing? What are we feeling right now? Because it's not Moulin Rouge and Anne Juliet, where it's just lights and sound, and you're like, stimulation overload, and like that's what it is. That's fine. Like if you want to do that, we're gonna do that. I'm down for that. I like Once Upon a One More Time, and I miss it every day. Okay, I can do that. But if you're gonna be like trying to have depth and do this whole thing, but then also try to like, oh, look over here, there's gravel, look through the rain, don't worry about the fact that we've said almost nothing for 2 hours, like, I don't know. I will say, again, I liked the rain scene. I think this musical did a brilliant job of mixing together the dance style and the violence. Because I hated West Side Story. And I know the movie, West Side Story, Steven Spielberg talked about how he wanted to show that the violence was real, that it's not this dancey violence, and that this is real serious violence, and like respect. Totally agree. But the way West Side Story did it felt almost silly. The way it just was such an abrupt like transition from dance to violence. I did think that The Outsiders did a really brilliant job of choreographing the violence in a way where it all really blended together really beautifully. And so again, I did think that this musical was visually really stunning and visually told a really good story. I just feel like the story in and of itself is, I just wish there was a little more meat. I wish there was a little more meat. This is an American classic, so it's just me thinking this, I guess. But again, when it's a musical, I need more. When the novel, and I kind of feel like I have to read the novel, even though it's kind of for children, but that's okay. I'm gonna have to do it. When Pony Boy, like right in the novel, you're hearing someone's perspective, one person's perspective. When it's a musical and you're having to hear a bunch of people's perspective, again, I think it's just like how it's adapted to a medium. Like, I'm not saying that it probably doesn't work in the book. It probably does. There's a reason it's an American classic. But it's different when it's a musical and you have all of these characters, and it's like you have to give attention to all these characters in a different way than in a book. And I feel like they should have given us more to work with in the musical format, because we're trying now to connect with several characters. Many characters get a song, and so they need to be doing the work to connect us with a lot of them. And again, I think they could have beefed up the plot a little bit more by maybe elevating some characters' stories, giving certain characters a little bit more to work with where they didn't. Again, I am really attached to the brothers. I really think the brothers should have been more important than, I feel like you have to get to know the kids who die. Again, I don't know, sorry. If you don't know anything about The Outsiders, you shouldn't be watching this video, so I'm putting that out there. I feel like you have to they want us to get to know the kids who die so that we feel bad and have an emotional moment, but it feels kind of manufactured, because ultimately I think we should have put way more time into the brothers, and it should have really been Pony Boy and then his brothers and then everything else happening. Like, I think it should have really been recentered, because I think the brothers have a much better story to tell. Because Pony Boy's story of like, I feel hope, I'm gonna go to college, and then it's like, just kidding, I'm in a gang, my life's over, and then it's like, just kidding, I have hope. It's like, it just, like, he basically, no, he literally finishes where he started. He literally finishes where he started. And again, that's the storytelling device, which, again, it's a book adaptation. That storytelling device doesn't necessarily work on stage. I also hate when characters randomly start narrating in book adaptations, whether that's on stage or in a movie, because sometimes it just feels lazy. Find another way to get us to understand what's going on without just shoving random fourth wall narration in. So I think that's, to me, ultimately what didn't work. I will definitely read the book to give it a proper kind of comparison. I'll probably watch the movie. But yeah, I mean, is anybody else vibing with what I'm saying? I must know. Is anybody else feeling this? I just, like, the lyrics, like, I can get past I think this is the issue. I can get past the plot being all right if the character development is so strong, right? Because then I'm like, okay, it's more character driven than plot driven. But it's like, if both kind of, like, one has to be really strong, I think. Again, the set, the choreography, all of those things were really strong, but it doesn't make up for what wasn't quite doing it for me. And I, again, am a lyrics girly, so that's what I'm showing up for. I do think that if you're not a lyrics girly, if you're not somebody who's like super into musical theater and like super trying to like hone in on that stuff, you probably don't notice, and that's probably why this musical is doing really, really well. Again, I question how it won Best Musical. Like, there's a reason you didn't give it Best Book and Best Score. And yeah, I'm bitter about The Notebook, but like, I also think it's very odd that it didn't win Best Score and Best Book, and I totally agree with that, but then somehow it's the Best Musical. That season was weird. Okay, that season was weird. Not gonna get mad about it. It's been over a year. It's fine. All in all, The Outsiders, it was good. It was good, but would I go again? And that's usually my gauge. I don't think so. Part of me wants to go to like be critical and like experiencing it again, but that's ridiculous. In this economy, we're not doing that. I did spend $49. I probably would not be as happy if I spent more than that because I won the lottery. And I do feel like that's a factor. I think about that sometimes. And this is maybe a topic for another video of like when I win the lottery versus if I had to spend X amount of money on it, would I feel differently? Maybe. So yeah, in conclusion, decent. But for what I look for in a musical, didn't quite do it for me. Again, I learned an important lesson about the power of a ripped, handsome young man. They are our most powerful assets. They could end wars on diplomacy alone. Just kind of flex, and everyone will go, yes, you're right, whatever you say. It's bizarre. It's bizarre, actually. It's bizarre. But yeah, thank you for watching. I really, really want to know your thoughts. Please give me your thoughts. I need to talk about this with somebody. Nobody in my life has seen this musical. I went by myself. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I must know everyone's thoughts. I'm desperate to talk about this. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, comment, do all of the things. I would really, really appreciate it. And I appreciate your time, taking your time to listen to me chat about The Outsiders. So I will see you next time to talk more theater. Bye!